Yusef, you're a doctor, mate. I want abs by next Monday. Can you sort that? There's nothing we can do. But give us the right fitness client. Get you shredded.
I'm an in-gym PT. I'm fucking sick of this. I'm sick of my clients giving me the flu. I want to work in my socks and my pants. I don't want to do this anymore. We have an hour for you to explain to people, should they go online? Do they need to have PT experience first? How do they do it? And give us your best stories.
Don't build a program. Don't get a website. Don't make a logo.
You guys work in an industry of charlatans. Why?
It's money. It's profit. But it says personal trainer on your back. So everybody in Pure Gym thinks, that's the guy I go speak to.
Hi, person with personal trainer on their t-shirt. I want a personal trainer.
Exactly.
Nowhere else on the planet does that happen.
When you move into the internet, really, anybody is a client, because most people, or in Yusef's world, everybody has a bodybuilding goal. They just don't realise it.
Are you more talented at coaching coaches, or are you more talented at coaching clients? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I'm joined by Dr. Ned Flanders.
Highly holy.
And Jonny from Yusef.
Jonny
from Yusef. Jonny and Yusef from Propane Fitness.
Did you mean to do that?
No.
That's incredible.
Jonny from Yusef and Yusef, who looks like Ned Flanders. To the people that are listening, Yusef has grown a moustache for Movember and he looks...
I've been likened to every famous figure with a moustache over the month.
Apart from
Tom Selleck. Have you had
Captain Hook?
Captain Hook.
You are very Captain Hook at the moment, actually.
Did he have he had a
twirler.
Yeah.
If we get you a hat, a red coat.
Right. Crash Bandicoot. You know, the character.
Hoobadiga.
Okay. Without Googling it, did he have a chain on his jeans?
Yes.
Yes.
He had blue denim shorts, red shoes, and a silver
So
chain.
Mike did this to me the other day, and he doesn't have a chain, but it just shows the power of suggestibility. I was like, well, yeah. And then we looked at him up, and he never has a chain. You're like, ah. Oh. So that's why I'm thinking Captain Hook maybe didn't have a moustache.
I really thought that was relevant, but it wasn't.
It is relevant.
It's not relevant.
Because Chris has said...
You look like Captain Hook.
Enough, thank you. Okay, today we're going to talk about how to be an online coach. This is what Jonny and Yusef do. The new wing of Propane is Propane Business.
Butane.
You also have a new podcast.
We do.
The Propane Business Podcast.
I mean, it's not technically called that.
What's it called?
If you search Propane Business on iTunes, you'll get it. It's called...
Grow your online fitness business. The reason that it's not called the Propane Business Podcast is there are a group of people who make money from selling propane via a business.
And
As a result,
they own the domain.
They do own the domain.
And they wanted to sell it for $36,000 to us, and we said, no, thank you.
Propane Business for people who want to get into the butane
into the
industry.
Propane business. Yeah. You know Hank from King of the Hill?
Yeah.
That's what he does. He's in the propane business.
And accessories for propane.
Yeah.
Okay.
Propane and propane accessories.
So there will be some people listening who think, I'm an in-gym PT. I'm fucking sick of this. I'm sick of my clients giving me the flu. I want to work in my socks and my pants. I don't want to do this anymore.
It's quite accurate.
I'm just gonna open the floor to you guys. We have an hour for you to explain to people, should they go online? Do they need to have PT experience first? How do they do it? And give us your best stories. So where do we start? You're doing an MOT of someone who's about to go online, maybe as a coach. Where do you start?
Yusef's got all the answers for this. So.
Cool.
So this is where the hot potato gets passed in two direct.
Yeah.
So with this, I think that's an important observation of I want to work in my socks and pants at home. Like, it sounds silly, but it is actually like you need to think, how do you want your life to look day to day? And so a lot of people don't do this, and they just go like, oh, I'm interested in like lift biceps and stuff, so I'm going to go and do a personal training qualification. And they realize the reality of it is working in Pure Gym, sort of slinking around and like sleazing on people to try and like gain new clients and working long hours, exchanging time for money, and generally just having a bit of a rubbish time. Whereas if you set your goal on how do I want my life to look, and then reverse engineer it, rather than I like this and so I'm going to do this, and not think about what the outcome ends up as, you're going to...
Some people might like the idea of being on their feet, talking, interacting one-to-one.
Oh, in that case, you're a great fit for a PT.
Quite a lot of people don't want to be exclusively online for that reason. Because especially if you've gone from being an online coach, being an offline coach, to full online.
It's the most ironically sedentary
Yeah.
activity.
And
The least fit person ever.
you go from waking up at 6 a.m. and like non-stop till 9 at night to just you wake up and you're like,
Laptop open,
all day.
send email.
We've actually spoken to an online coach. We're not going to say his name, but at the end of an interview with him, he was like, so I've been coaching people online to get shredded for ages, but look at me. And he stood up, lifted up his shirt and just went like, bloop, bloop, with his like fat rolls. And he was like, it doesn't matter. No one knows that I'm fat. It's fine. So
we're a very well-known guy as well.
So let's say that someone, the most common person I think that's going to be listening or that's going to be interested, the most representative example for people who aren't coaches is going to be an in-gym PT. Maybe been a PT for 3 years, good clients, but they've realised, hang on, unless I start putting my price up to 50, 60, 70 units per hour, the 50 UK,
like
US?
Newton minutes or something.
Yeah.
Like,
Newton meters per
50
hour.
kilowatt hours.
Yeah. And they're like, I want to earn some more money. What do they do?
Yeah. So the biggest mistake that people make in that transition is they think being an online coach is the same as being an offline coach. So when you are like in Pure Gym with the words personal trainer written on your back, you don't realize it, but Pure Gym have done all of the work for you. Like they brought the people to the door, they've made them pay. Which is a big deal because all you're dealing with is people who are paying for fitness, which
you
is
have
massive.
to just be there and not a creep.
And you've got words on your back that say you're the expert. It could be anyone. You can have a fucking clue, but it says personal trainer on your back. So everybody in Pure Gym thinks, oh, fucking hell, that's the guy I go speak to.
Yeah.
And people still struggle. So that person is struggling. They're like, oh, I've only got 20 clients, 30 quid an hour, bit shit, 6 in the morning, 9 at night, don't see my friends at the weekend. I know, I'll go online. What do people want? A recipe book. That's what everyone wants. They want a recipe book. So I'll make a recipe book. I'll make a logo. I'll spend $5,000 on a website and I'll just try and do the same thing on the internet. And the analogy we use is you're the pervert at the family barbecue because everyone's scrolling down and it's like cat photo, funny video, Brexit, baby, someone trying to sell me on like fuck off, like ban, block, complain.
Mute.
And like, they're like, oh, but I've only got 10 spaces. So, comment below, tag. It's just not, it doesn't work. So basically in the current market, online market, or probably any industry, if you just shoot from the hip and try and sell fat loss on the internet, like, because we were able to do that when we started, but
in 2008 it worked because
like pre-credit crisis.
That's because
Did you cause the credit crisis?
Basically, yeah, we posted on Facebook and that was it.
Like that was back in the day. It was beautiful where you could post on Facebook and get 200 likes for sharing like a Daily Mail article. You could rank on the first page of Google for writing an article about DOMs or Ramadan or like, well, actually no, even about like much more basic stuff than that, like hypertrophy, how to hypertrophy.
Yeah.
Top page of Google.
I want a hypertrophy. Google preferred.
Yeah. First page Google. Whereas now, you just won't.
Much more sophisticated.
Well, or just there's a wider market. So the market's massive, and there are easily enough clients to go around. But
unlock your iPhone first.
Hey Siri.
Anyone? Anyone have any idea?
Are you leaning on your iPhone?
Which home?
Can we turn it off now? Moving on. The market's a lot more sophisticated.
The market's massive, but there are a lot more people trying to do it because a lot more people are disillusioned with PT offline. So you just have to be more specific with who you try to reach, and that. Go on.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. That like the bottleneck is sales when you're working in a Pure Gym, but they don't realize it because most of the front end work's been done.
Mm-hmm.
But then when they go online, the bottleneck is much harder, and it's still sales. But yeah, people think it's the recipe book or whatever, and I think part of the problem is identifying the wrong bottleneck with your whole process, and then trying to fix it. And the most common one is like, I'm a PT and I've done me level 4 active IQ certification. Then I've got me NASM level 1, and I'm going to do me advanced nutritional counselling for women aged between 60 and 65 to help with food intolerances. And I've done me celiac certification and me pregnancy. And you're like,
kettlebell level 10.
It's like, because they think it's like little feathers to their, feathers to their bow,
cap,
strings to their cap. And
Strings to their cap.
skin off their nose, whatever. And whereas, like, I would say any of that education that should be off your own back for your own sense of internal pride, and really get that from a textbook. Don't pay like $2,000 for a kettlebell.
That's the same person who says, like, Joe Wicks is a tosser and he doesn't know anything.
So no one cares if Joe Wicks has a kettlebell.
Well,
level 3.
Look at the numbers.
Yeah,
Look at
A lot more people care about Joe
but
Wicks
he has
than
got a
you.
recipe book.
He does have a recipe book.
He's got a number of recipe books.
He does. So back to why that's important, and I'll get onto the recipe book in a second. What Pure Gym have done is brought a certain person in. They trust the environment they're in. They don't approach a PT and think, well, I might get scammed here.
Yeah.
There's an environment. You have to create all of that yourself online.
Because you've got the institutional...
Yeah, you're in a gym.
Legitness.
You're in a gym. It's a brand. Everyone knows who you are.
Like, you trust the Tesco guy. You go into Tesco and you don't think, oh, he might...
I need to find out where the cereal is, and he says aisle, like, Batman symbol Q, and you're like, hang on a second, I'm not sure if you know what you're talking about.
And there's like a green button that says add to cart.
Exactly. Are you sure?
Exactly. And then, so like your website, your persona online, everything has to create that. So you have to somehow be seen as trusted, as an expert, as having the answers by someone. And the easiest way to do that is to pick a specific person who would naturally see you as that. Now, I realize I'm going around the houses here, but the point is, like, it was a weird noise. We started working with students because we just finished being students and because we intimately understood students. So to a student, us versus a coach who's 10 years older or whatever, we're much more likely to be seen as an expert because we know exactly what they're going through. We've had results in that environment, and our market's changed as we've grown up. And we now mainly work with people who are where we were before we moved into Propane, which is finance and corporate busy. So it's far easier to create that pure gym feeling when you're seen as someone who's just, oh well, they get me, they understand me, so they're saying things that are relevant.
You need to be seen with some authority. You need to be trusted. And what was the third one?
Well, know, like, and trust is like the thing that's
know,
so
like,
they know
and
you,
trust.
they know who you are, they trust you, and they like you. So if they make you laugh, if it's engaging, they relate to what you're saying.
It's super interesting that you talk about how the offline normal in-gym PT environment has pre-selected for that. So Lewis, housemate who's upstairs at the moment, he was at the gym, and I don't know whether you know the way that their PT structure is set up, but they have no rental costs for being in the gym. They just need to do, I think it's 6 hours of reception per week.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, that's an amazing deal. When you actually scale up 6 hours by 4 over a month at £40 per hour or whatever you're going to charge, you're actually like, hang on a second. Like, I could maybe be working more, but then you think, well, hang on, I can slot things around it. But the main thing, and this is what I was saying to him, he was like talking, do I go into a private studio? Should I go away? And I was like, bro, like, if you've got slots left in your calendar or slots left in your weekly schedule, I was like, I would just stand on reception. These people are the hottest leads in the world. They're coming to you and saying, hi, person with personal trainer on their t-shirt. I want a personal trainer.
Exactly.
Nowhere else on the planet does that happen. Like, apart from like the Yellow Pages back in 1992. Do you know, when you'd look down, it would be like Arthur Anderson, painter. Oh, well, he's for top of the page. Oh, he's paid for a frame as well. It's double A. Yeah, Aaron Aronson. Yeah, exactly.
It's even better than that because the people in the gym are like, they're by definition, they're serious because they've paid to be there. I know pure
it's an upsell. It's an upsell, not
even yeah. So like being a PT in like a David Lloyd, like, one thing for sure about everybody in there, and that is that they're paying a decent monthly rate.
That is a good point. Like, the lead quality is great because they're in the gym. Like, they're not just paid to offset their guilt and haven't gone in. They've actually turned up at the gym too. So.
Yeah, massive.
Okay.
And yet they still have a sales problem.
We're talking to people who are probably offline PTs or people who are just interested in this industry overall. But are there any analogous situations for this? I guess someone potentially who's like a counsellor who works one-to-one with people, perhaps doing therapy, or anyone else who's like that, who's thinking about going online. Do you think that these are universal rules, or at least like applicable to some other, or have you considered any other?
I think any freelance job. So counsellor, painter, therapist, beautician.
An online painter.
Well, so like anything where
It's the worst example.
I'll explain. So anything where there is a potential to be working with an institution or working on your own basis.
Understood.
Got it.
So either with a PT, if you're choosing to be purely offline, then you're either working with the institution of Pure Gym, or you have your own personal brand that you've built, and then you can bring people into that, and then you offer whatever you want with that. If you're a painter, you can't do a lot online unless you go into like information products, but we don't know what the market is like for information products for painters.
How to be a painter.
Feel like a handyman or something. But what you can do is leverage your time and use that expertise to say, right, I'm going to build a team around me and
teach them how to be painters.
Like
focus on BDM.
Yeah, but is that where you put a ball in your mouth and you have to whip each other? So if you're a handyman, the biggest market I see, and I'm sure you'll have experienced this pain. Well, actually, we will experience this pain horribly. Is there's a huge gap for PAs for handymen or for builders, where they would just tell them, right, you're here on Tuesday, you're there on Thursday. That's where you go.
So effortful, the discussion backwards and forwards with anyone who's in that handyman, plumber, painter, carpenter, fucking electrician thing. Like
trades.
Ring the person. Hi, mate. Can you do this job? Are you available at this time? Here's the address. Here's the phone number of the person who you need to speak to, or it's me. Oh, hang on, I need to rearrange. Like, none of that has got anything to do with your expertise as a fucking handyman.
The thing is, though, is that will exist through bigger companies, but it'll be a lot more expensive. And like, would you pay double? Because you've got to pay for the PA and the plumber.
That's it. So if you can charge like a 10-20% premium or whatever it is to cover your costs, and then just operate that at scale. And if
what are we talking about coaches for? Electricians.
Where the gap is,
DM us.
Where the gap
you.
really is creating a piece of software. Make a SaaS product that is for trade, software as a service. So create a platform that organises tradesmen. Yeah.
Uber for trains.
We better delete that because someone will steal that.
Well, it's like my Trusted Trader and My Trader and stuff like that do the sourcing of it.
Checkatrade.com.
But not the actual organising of it.
You watch a lot of TV, don't you?
It's actually more of a radio thing, that.
And you get loads
and
of
I listen to so much radio.
Remember when we told an entire room of radio presenters that the only time we ever listen to radio is before our Bluetooth connects?
I think it was the bosses of a big radio
company
conglomerate.
Yeah, it was technically a group.
Think of a big radio station. The owners of them, we told them that radio was shit.
Immediately after, someone told them that 93% of people in the UK listen to radio at least once a week, and we looked at each other and went,
"No, they don't.
You fucking lie." Okay, so I'm thinking about how a sales page works here. Where's your authority? Why should the people that we're speaking to listen to you?
That's
like what license have you got to talk to anyone about how to be an online
really
coach?
Good question. And it's also what you should ask yourself whenever you're offering a service is like, have I achieved the thing which I'm professing? Have I achieved the result that I'm professing that I'm going to get for other people? And so the same way that you wouldn't trust a fat personal trainer, you wouldn't trust a car driving instructor that hasn't got a license. You have to, and the great thing is you don't need to be the world record holding authority on that thing. You just need to be a chapter ahead of whatever you're offering to someone.
So how many chapters ahead do you think you guys are? Because I know the answer to this.
So we
probably the entire book. Yeah. Probably the encyclopedia. No, I'm joking.
We market to people who are like us 5 years ago.
I think us 10 years ago.
But you've done a lot in 5 years. You've done a lot more than most people would. Take us through. So you've been online coaches for 10 years.
So Propane started about a decade ago as a blog, gained traction, got a few clients, slowly trickled along. We figured out, right, we need to figure out how to market this. bought like our first course to learn like the basics, and then since then, I don't know how much money you've invested. It would probably make
60,
me
70
argue
grand,
it's way more than that.
Oh, actually, if you include all the like software and stuff as
Yeah,
well.
so lots of money in learning how to market it. We've been doing
You
it.
can't ad spend as tuition fee as well, then it's...
It's nauseating. I will be sick. So we've been doing it full time. I mean, you've done a bit of other stuff, like you did a medical degree and
BlackRock.
But since 2016, full time. So we're not like, I think our selling point, as far as we see it, is there are two ways to succeed with this stuff, really. One is the best example of the way that we don't do is James Smith and what's happened to him. So
let's talk about that in a second.
Okay, all right. So we don't have any of that. If anyone follows us, like they'll know that we don't have 500,000 followers on Instagram or anything like that.
We're not internet personalities.
No,
yeah,
no. We run things very much from we have systems that do the work for us. We figured it out, I suppose, the long, frustrating way that, if you leverage sales and marketing properly, you can use advertising software systems to bring clients in a fairly repeatable way.
More passive.
Yeah, there's a lot more work to get it set up, but there's more predictability over it. It's less like, will my video go viral? Yes or no?
Yes.
Will the platform change and take likes and comments away? There's none of that, but there's other uncertainties and difficulties.
it's probably the difference between like setting up an intricate set of pipes and stuff that spits out like a bowl of cereal at the end, and you just go, I'm just going to pour that much milk into the top, and it goes and makes the bowl of cereal, compared to just getting your hose pipe out and just being like,
And hoping a bit goes in the bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes loads goes in.
Yeah.
And sometimes not.
And those days are great.
Yeah.
Those days are the best.
Okay, so you've talked about some of the things that you guys have done. I want the listeners, the ones who are still with us, who are not perfectly interested in online.
Why are you talking about cereal?
What about fucking online coaches for? I want to hear a round robin for the next 10 to 15 minutes of the funniest situations you've encountered whilst learning about being an online coach.
Okay.
So I want to hear
Some of the fails.
I want to hear the story about when you went to go see James Smith live and you thought he was going to give you the keys. I want to hear I want to hear the story about. I want to hear the story about. I'm not being funny, right? I want to hear the one about the brain problem.
Oh my God.
You know what? These really like.
Look at him he's getting FOMO that he hasn't written them all
down.
down.
My phone's too bloody big. I can't flex my hip with. So these actually come very much into what we were saying about getting you like level 3 kettlebell certification, all this stuff. That you go to like some kind, so like an Eric Helms event, which.
So for the people who aren't listening, who's that?
So he's
People who aren't listening. For the people who aren't listening,
you almost got away with that.
I know.
It sounded perfectly fine to me.
Yusef from Jonny. For the people who don't know who Eric Helms is, or 3D Muscle Journey.
Yeah, so like someone he's a PhD researcher and bodybuilder, talks about the mechanisms of and physiology of muscle metabolism and hypertrophy.
He's a big deal.
It's a big deal,
big deal.
but it's something that personal trainers love to nerd out on, and we did as well. Like we turned up and we were like, learn some stuff about this. But the kind of questions that you have people asking.
So why were you there? Why would people? So there's an online coach.
Yeah,
there's an online coach who's listening to this and thinking, I might go to James Smith's new training seminar. I might go to Eric Helms's new this. I might go to Paul Mort's new whatever. Why do people go? What do they want?
Well, so
the answers.
I think it's perfectly fine to go, but yeah, they want the secret, the thing, and the questions that they're asking. If it's on behalf of clients, it's like you don't need to be asking that. It's just
what, like?
So like, Eric, I have a client. She on her period, but normally she squats 72.5 kilogram. This week, Tuesday, she squat 70 kilogram for 4 reps. She cannot do more. Is this because, can you stop creatine on period for... And you're like, you're getting so bogged down. And like, it's not going to help you get more clients. It's not going to help you be a better personal trainer.
Or better anything. And you can see, because these people have been asked these questions a lot. And you watch like, someone asks a question.
The period question.
Well, but there's an archetype of someone goes, Eric, yes, I do have a question pertaining. And as soon as someone says pertaining or like implementate, or anything like that, red flag warning. The klaxon goes off.
Do you remember?
What about if someone opens up with a title that they have? So, like, as a personal trainer of 15 years,
I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
Do you remember the one? There was a bit where Eric was talking about, and I'm getting somewhere with this point, but it's just so.
I don't care. I just want to hear funny stories.
Is it the patrol?
Oh, so he was talking about. He was like, okay, so when you're setting up someone's diet and periodizing, you want to have, let's say, for example, 5 low-calorie days where you have moderate protein, moderate carbohydrate, low fat, and then 2 days of refeed where you have higher carbohydrate, and you cycle that through. And Eric, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I've just got a question pertaining to the aforementioned status of diet periodizing that you just mentioned there. How would one implementate that along with a carb cycling protocol? And he was like, well, I mean, this kind of is carb cycling.
So you need to be aware that when you go to these things that people might ask questions that are either too nuanced or ones where they're trying to sound too clever.
It's because of the lack, like they don't. They're coming at it from like you need to have some kind of goal of what am I going to this for? Like, am I going for my own education? In which case, just sit and listen. If not, if it's for like...
And ask a question that interests you, perhaps.
Exactly. And whereas if it's something to make you a better personal trainer, that is not... It's never going to be the bottleneck unless you're like terrible at what you do. Because most of the time, the limiting factor with your client's result is not protein synthesis or like how...
Their period.
Their period, or like how many grams of creatine they have post-workout. Or is it
it's their compliance. It's their total weekly volume.
It's your rapport with them.
It's being a human. Like treating someone like a human and being a human is like one of the biggest things. But
why do you think this is veering off? I want to get back to funny stories in a second. Us three here know that the secret to getting in good shape isn't really a secret, and it's really quite basic. It's move more than you eat, control the processed foods that you have, try and do progressive overload, try and lift heavy 3 times a week, try and get some sort of fresh air, try and get some daylight, sleep well. That's it. Why is the fitness industry so abound with different approaches to achieving that? Is it because, this is my theory, I'll see what you think, the route from input to output, the process that people go through to get there is so opaque and so difficult to see that it allows everyone to be like, what's in the magic box? My magic box is the faster, quicker, superior magic box.
It's the only way to get to this, like...
Why is it allowing... Because it's a fucking industry. You guys work in an industry of charlatans.
Yeah.
Why?
It's money. It's profit. Like, whenever and you can see this in anything where the process is the true answer is like a few things done every day for 2 years. Like saving money, for example, like becoming wealthy. The answer is never like...
This forex
in a
trade.
book, on a course, in a forex masterclass.
It's not this technical analysis system of triggers and entry points. And
it's the fundamentals done for a very long time, and people don't want to hear that, and that creates a gap for people who are really good at marketing to make a lot of money.
Cool.
And
what else we got? I want to hear what happened when you went to go see James Smith, because you've identified the fact that you guys aren't. There's two categories, I think, of online coach.
Yeah.
There's the James Smith and there's the Propane Fitness. Propane Fitness would be more analytical with regards to the way that they've got sales funnels set up. They're using ads cleverly. They're using spend online.
I think we see it as where the everyman option. Like, not everyone can be James Smith by definition. I think that's like everybody trying to be on Coronation Street or Hollyoaks, or like you need to be a certain type of person for that to work.
If you make it, great.
Yeah, you sort it, and it's easy to look back and go, oh yeah, just you want to go to acting school, and you can map out the path that you took to get there. But actually, the reason is your charisma, the way you look. And James is obviously great at that stuff, and that was the elephant in the room for us in that entire seminar was like half the people asking questions, like they're quiet, they're shy, And James naturally is not that. And that's going to be the biggest difference. But that beside the point. So we teach people a way to just not to be run an academy with thousands of people in it. Just how might you go about replacing what you earn as an offline coach, as an online coach? Like if you could just do the same income in a way that was a bit, allowed you a lot more flexibility, that's attainable for everyone. It's not going to make you a millionaire, but it's achievable. And we do that with like marketing and sales, the basics of marketing.
And there's nothing
sales.
that stops you from doing what, again, my housemate Lewis is looking at doing, which is augmenting his existing offline income.
I mean, we've had many people that we've worked with that have, doubled or tripled or like in a couple of cases, like 6-7 times their income to like sort of 10-15 grand a month. But they still want to do some offline personal training stuff.
I think I would as well.
Yeah,
I'd want to keep my foot in the thing. I'd have some clients that I'd be mates with.
They just want to keep their foot in the thing. Just
foot in the thing.
Yeah. Just foot on the ground and like have some level, because they get some level of satisfaction from it. And what's better is that they can then hand pick the best offline clients that they have, charge a higher rate, and just sack off the pain in the arse ones, and then just focus on their online work. So,
who else have you been to see? So you have this Eric Helms thing. What are some of the other things that people should be concerned about before they sign up to a seminar?
Oh my God.
Like
where to begin with that? Like some of the situations I've been in with Yusef, so it's hard to describe because you have to, the more you know Yusef, the funnier the whole thing is, but Yusef is, you got to remember, the sort of guy who went to Blythe. Is it Blythe? Where did
to be in a cult.
To be in a cult where he ended up lying down on the ground because everyone around him was dancing and he didn't get it, but he still went for 12 weeks. So like, if someone says, this is the way to do it, Yusef, he'll do it. The first business coach we hired told us to, basically, we did like a boosted post Facebook ad, which is never.
do not. If you mention boosted post in front of Jonny,
he's allergic. He actually has an anaphylactic reaction.
It's a great way. You get a lot of exposure, but it literally just anybody can come into your world. There's no targeting or measurability to anything you do, and that's what happened. Loads of people booked one of these free coaching calls with us, which is what we were told to do, and we're good students, so that's what we did. And we spent probably 100 hours on the phone.
So just to give you some context for this as well, like this is a man who was bragging about the fact that he brings people to tears during the sales calls all the time, bragging that he got a single mum to remortgage a house so that she could sign up for his
it really is
for his
extreme
fitness product. And the sales script they give you is really manipulative and really like just
pain point,
pokey,
aggressive.
You're encouraged to make people cry.
NLP.
And so we've been doing this for a while. We'd had mixed success with it. Yusef lost a friend
I remember feeling like nauseous while doing these calls because it was like, this is just so not in line with who we are as people. But we were like, well, we've got to follow the process because we've paid $5,000 for it. So
Yusef did a live on a call with this guy, a live role play where Yusef was the client and this guy was trying to close Yusef, and Yusef just kept. So the guy was like, it's $5,995 for my program. And Yusef was like, okay. The guy's like, what do you think? He's like, I think it's too expensive. The guy's like, well, what do you mean by that? He's like, well, it's beyond what I feel comfortable paying. He's like, well, what do you mean by that? Well, I'm unable to pay that today, so I won't be proceeding. And the guy just continued. And we've been in so many, like, on the other end of sales calls, the guy trying to sell us this program where he just kept saying, so what's next? So he would say something. I sat next to Yusef, and the guy was like, so, this is the program, and so what's next? And Yusef just kept saying something. And it got to the end, and the guy went, so what, guys, what's next? And Yusef turned to me and just went, fuck.
because I suppose
it's just weird.
Being on a sales call, like both people have to be playing the game, don't they?
You can't. If one person just isn't bought into the game,
can't be adversarial. Yeah.
So I suppose the lesson is like the world of people selling marketing advice to personal trainers is a really like there be dragons for sure. Like there are people who have zero experience in what they're teaching, like have legitimately never run a fitness business, but see an opportunity. And it's the same way in the fitness world.
Grant Cardone.
People who... I've never bought anything from Grant Cardone. So,
But it is Grant Cardone.
Have you seen the Entrepreneur?
I have, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not the interview, the actual documentary.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Is it supposed to be Grant Cardone?
It is Grant Cardone.
Right. Okay. I mean, the accent sort
It's
of
quite blatantly.
gives it.
It's amazing.
He's got a mug that says 11X on it.
Right. Oh, right. Yeah. Right. Okay. So, I mean, in the same way that there are people selling like weight loss powder, weight loss pills in the fitness market, there's the same thing in this market, but it's more when people are like messing with their life savings or, remortgaging things because they've been sold this dream gets a bit.
It's true. Like you've got to be really aware of and I suppose in any industry, like once more people are making money from selling how to make money than the thing itself, you've got to be really
worry.
But the principle from Mike Winnett from the Entrepreneur, the whole principle behind that is why, if someone had the secret, would they turn their customers into competitors? That's what he asks. It's not quite a zero-sum game, but like there's only, especially when you're talking UK audience, there's only 65 million people here. That's for you, I'm going to guess, what's a good-sized audience for you to target? 3 mil? 4 mil for you?
You mean on Facebook or on the internet? I mean, like 400,000 would be like a 1% of the UK audience.
Minimum, like bottom end.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is...
Okay, so out of all of the people, you only have 100 of them. You only have 100 1%.
Yeah.
Like, that's not that many.
So people ask us this question a lot, like, if you're doing fitness and it's going so well, why are you teaching personal trainers? And I definitely get where that question's coming from, because it feels like, what the fuck are you doing? You're scamming me.
Yep.
But the reality of the market is, one, most coaches couldn't handle even 100 people online, like the vast majority. So when you consider the market, when you're in like Newcastle and you're a PT, you immediately think of it as, well, there's me, there's that gym down the road, there's that CrossFit gym, and that's got all those mint PTs in. Like, you think in a very competitive sense. When you move into the internet, really, anybody is a client, because most people, or in Yusef's world, everybody has a bodybuilding goal. They just don't realize it. So, like, you can legitimately work with anybody with an internet connection.
7 billion people.
Yeah.
Well, like,
and when we talk
why
about
the fitness industry is so big.
It's huge.
Because
It's
everyone
fucking huge.
does
Everyone
have
has a bodybuilding goal.
yeah.
We talk about this idea of a freedom number, or the point at which you've replaced your offline income with online coaching, and either doubled your income or you can move into online coaching full time. To get that, you need like 20 people. So like, if all we do,
what's like typical charging? You're charging something like £100 a month?
Yeah, between 100 and 200 quid a month is like average online at the moment for a monthly rate. So if we help even 1,000 people do that, it's not even making the tiniest dent in the fitness industry, like even in like the northeast of England, that would affect us. Yeah. And so when people say that, you're like, fuck off. Like, do you just sit and think about it for a second?
Do you think? So here's a question for you: are you a better online coach, or an better online coach?
We're the same. Just the material is different because
well, no, like you have
do you mean our ability?
Yeah. Are you more talented at coaching coaches, or are you more talented at coaching clients?
I think it depends. For me especially, well, I think for both of us, it depends on the fitness client. Because we'll have some fitness clients we work really well with people who are like analytically minded. So we'll have some clients who come in who like have listened to a podcast, and you give them a little bit of information, and they come back and they've devoured all of the members area, all the podcast, and they're shredded.
It's a bit like you leave someone in a kitchen with like a pot of dry rice
and a cookery book,
a garlic clove, and like cookery book and like whatever, and you come back and they've just made a feast with noodles, and you're like, oh, okay,
and then there's some other people.
Other people. So you probably get this, like we aren't like promoting like a juice fast diet, or like, you know what I mean? Like we're quite scientifically grounded, we're quite numerical, and
broadly the unsexy stuff.
It is exactly the unsexy stuff.
But thank God, because we're too intolerant as people to handle the type of person that would come to you if you promoted juice fasts. Because there's a type of attitude and shortcut kind of mindset that is very hard to shake if you have someone that comes to you and wants that, and then to try and coach them just becomes impossible, because it's just like square peg.
And that exists in business as well, but I think it's more. I think people
depends how you market it as well.
Of course it does, yeah. But I think there are fewer people. That's another story as well. There are fewer people who think like, well, by tomorrow I'll have a big business online. Like, I think the sort of most people,
Big Bister online.
most people think, you know, it's going to take a year or whatever. And so the result is a more serious type of client than someone who's like,
select.
well, I'm going on holiday in 10 days.
Get me lean. Why am I not lean?
Just
a little fella.
sticking out the hole.
That's nice.
But yeah,
So yeah, I think it depends on the client, but because generally when a PT comes to us, they're like, guys,
Serious.
yeah, like, this is going to take 2 years, but that's fine. Like, we're on the same page. If someone comes to us and they're like, Yusef, you're a doctor, mate. I want abs by next Monday. Can you sort that? There's nothing we can do. But give us the right fitness client, get you shredded.
Fine. Okay, that's a good politician's answer about coaching coaches or coaching
Well,
clients.
also, like, my background is business and finance. Yusuf's background is like bums and breasts and cells, hormones,
Cells.
glands.
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 So he's-
Or megaly negrum. So, okay, let's say we've talked about kind of like what the environment is and what the industry's like. Let's say that someone's thinking, okay, I'm offline PT, I'm ready to make the move online, or I'm someone who's got an interest in health and fitness and I think that I should do that. What's the first step? Do they buy a website?
No.
Do they make a brand?
No, absolutely. For God's sake, no.
Can I remortgage my house?
No.
You're gonna induce anaphylaxis again. Like,
So we have
Okay,
this.
what are the most common things that people think they should do? Buy a website?
All right. So yes, that and build a program. Don't do that.
So don't write a
Don't
program.
build a program. Don't get a website. Don't make a logo. Definitely don't like pay someone to set up a Trainer Eyes or My PT Hub or anything like that, because all that is doing is digging a trench in somewhere where you're not sure whether the trench is going to actually be there long term. Like, you're building a house and you haven't checked the foundations. And so we see this all the time, and we like use it in marketing a lot, that you see someone post on Facebook on their personal profile, like, I'm proud to announce after 6 months of building it that I'm finally launching my 8-week fat loss blaster program. 0 comments, 0 likes, tumbleweed 6 hours later. And people wonder why. So the first thing to do is really, you want to build some sort of sales process to test this with. Like, have an idea, have a concept. Who do I want to work with and why? Why would that person listen to me? What compelling stuff have I got to say to that person? What might the program look like? Then build a way to sell it to them, and sell first and bring in some people to help you build the
pre-enroll.
program. Yeah.
Or say, if you were to post online and say, considering going online, is anyone looking for an online coach at the moment? Why don't you give me a DM and we'll have a chat? Mm-hmm. And then you could talk to them, see the sort of people who respond. So you're talking about dipping your toe in the water.
Yeah. You want to build a program that is designed for your clients, not what you think your clients need. And that means really you need clients to help you build it.
So should you start off just coaching a few people for free?
That's one option. Yeah. The downside of that is a lot of people don't take it seriously. It's like someone we know actually has just tried to offer, I don't know whether you've seen this. He's just tried to offer 12 weeks of coaching for free. No one's taken him up on it. And the reason is, like, people don't, if I said to you, like, I'll make you a billionaire, but it's free, no problem.
Suspicious.
You just think, well, how,
Price is an indicator of quality.
It is,
isn't it?
yeah.
There's a sense of commitment to
Reassuringly
it as well.
expensive.
Like, whenever we've paid a lot for something, we like, if you pay a lot for a
Buy-in
course
side.
or audio program or whatever, you'll go and do it because you're like, well, I've sunk this amount of
Well,
money into
there's a
it.
book in the marketing world called Breakthrough Advertising that you can only get now for like 800 quid. And everybody like gets really excited about the book because it's so expensive. It'll just have the same stuff in. So it's the basics of marketing, but like when things are expensive, people value them more. So if something's free, people tend
Okay,
to
so
sit down.
how do I find out who my audience is?
So that I would serve you a year ago, or you at the beginning of your journey. So I would have that as your client, because you are like you are that person post transformation, right?
Broadly, should men coach men and women coach women for effectiveness?
Typically, that's the best way to do it, but
Yeah,
it's difficult.
like if you have some reasonable expertise in that, then fine. But when we like something, I feel it's weird when I see like a 25-year-old man say that he's going to do like middle-aged women postnatal, and you're just
Yeah,
like,
like, what do you
like,
know? What do you know about that?
Yeah, about the struggles of a middle-aged woman after having a baby. Like,
Yeah.
it seems seedy, and it seems like spermy.
It is possible, and some coaches are really good at coaching men
James
coach
Smith.
women. Yeah, exactly. And like some men have really good postnatal programs, but for your first online program, it's making it harder for yourself because you have to imagine what it's like to be that person.
So you want to pick what were the goals that you had? Oh, sorry.
Sorry. Just the only exception to that is if just naturally from your existing personal social media following, you get loads of questions and things from a specific demographic, and you can't figure out why, then fine. So
perhaps you've selected for men, women, young people, old people.
And it could be that James Smith is like a sexually desirable man, and so a lot of women like him, and so they go for they message him, they see him as an authority, and that's who he's like, right, I'm gonna double down on this.
You were saying that because James has got the mustache, you're doing the mustache.
It's exactly that.
You're hoping he messages you, aren't you?
Hoping he messages me, and then asks for coaching, and then
you can meet up with him. Yeah. So a good example of this: a client last week launched his sales funnel for his program that was men only. And more women bought than men. That he advertised it as a male program, but he had more female sign-ups than male sign-ups, which is like the market going, "Hi, this is the right thing to do." So he's saying to me like, "Do you think I should rebrand it?" Or I was like, "Well, gut instinct. What would you say?" So yeah, there are exceptions to that, definitely. But the first thing to do, build a sales funnel, like build a webinar, build a challenge, an email series, something like that positions you as an authority, gets you to show off a little bit about what you know and how you can help people, and offer your program as a beta launch at the end of it. It's like, I'm doing this program, and pick a reasonable number of people, like 20 or whatever is reasonable, for half price, and I just want some feedback. I want you to help me build it. I want ideally a testimonial. And then the program that you build is what they wanted, rather than like what Eric Helms spoke to you about, carb cycling and period management at a seminar. Because that's what everybody focuses on, but no one gives a shit. Like, someone will make an ebook about how branch chain amino acids work, and then wonder why their clients don't want it, when their clients are like middle-aged women.
So the fact that everyone there was a PT, and it wasn't made for PTs, it was just Eric Helms speaking at an event.
And that's who it attracts.
And you're like, well, if you look around in the room, you think, well, everyone here is a PT. No one's what my client would be. And so they're not going to care. Like, if this room was full of people that are my ideal client, then okay, they're clearly interested in the mechanics of carb cycling. So I'm going to then use that.
Talk about carb cycling to get my clients.
And the stuff that Jonny's mentioned there, I think applies for any result in any domain. It doesn't have to be fitness. Like, just anything that you have expertise in and you can get for other people, that you can knowledge that you can pack and deliver and apply with someone, keep them accountable to. That's
the main issue I have with the Grant Cardone stuff, and like that, not just Grant Cardone, but like a lot of internet marketing in general. He might be. Imagine if he wants that.
Fuck off.
Is that I think some of the time, people buy these courses because they're told, "Oh, you're going to become an internet millionaire," but you still need to have you can put a turbo onto anything, but if it doesn't have like wheels, a chassis, and an engine, it's not going to make it go faster.
What's the turbo? Are you referring to?
The turbo is what these people are teaching is like a marketing mechanism, usually like a sales and marketing process for a business online.
Well, Mike Winnett talks about that. He says that some woman bought this Grant Cardone's business Kickstarter program for $3,000. Didn't have a business.
Yeah,
like, you don't have a product to offer.
They're going to help me come up with one.
I mean, that's shaky ground to begin with, isn't it? Like, it's still just demand and supply and the market. Like, just because you bought something doesn't make you instantly have a desirable thing. Whereas if someone's a PT, or it's the same as you say for like trades, or like if you're an architect or a lawyer, or I was speaking to someone the other week who was a lawyer and now earns like 7 times what she earned just working for herself, getting clients online.
Lawyer.
Yeah. So like, there's an example of, had she bought Grant Cardone or something like that, like how to market yourself online. When you have a skill that is in demand, it works. But you can't fabricate that by buying one of these courses.
There's a really good article. I thought you might have sent me it, or someone did, and it was basically saying it was like one of like article of the year or whatever, and it was just saying your entire worth is determined by what value you can
George
provide
McGill.
to other people.
Was it George McGill?
Yeah.
George McGill. The guy that wrote this book is full of spiders.
Okay.
Society
fine.
is the dying man on the ground, and you are the one that's holding the penknife. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. So your thank you. Yeah. So your entire worth is just what you can offer to people, and so I mean that's how economics works. It's like the demand and supply, but people think like, oh, dollar signs. I need to learn the marketing. Then you're like, what are you actually marketing? What's the thing that?
What are you selling?
Because there's this sense of like, I think what these things do is they generate a sense of entitlement in people that like, well, if I put myself in front of the camera and then people will just buy my product because I'm worthy of this. And it's like, well, no, like not unless you actually have something to.
Well, if you look at like
offer.
all the legit businesses, like look at Amazon, like Jeff Bezos didn't have like a quick marketing funnel, did he? Like Elon Musk didn't start Tesla.
So you're saying focus on the product?
I'm saying all those people focused on having a really solid product.
They were focusing on the customer's experience rather than, and this is the thing about like what Jonny said about, oh, I'm launching my new program and it's going to be sick. It's going to be absolutely amazing. It's based on like the latest intermittent fasting. And like, it's like people don't care and you're not thinking of it from what do they want? How can, like, because they'll be watching you on video and thinking, well, who's this guy? How can they help me? I'm not interested in them. I'm interested in my big belly and I want to get rid of it.
It's strange, isn't it? With regards to when you hear people, and I see this with myself as well, like thinking about, I'm so in the weeds with my own experience of life and my own life. My ability to have perspective on anything that I do is almost zero.
Yeah.
Like you will talk to someone about a project once that you've thought about 1,000 times. Literally had 1,000 versions of this thought. And then when it comes to talking to them about it, you garble your words. You're like,
Because there's so much to say.
hang on a fucking second. Yeah. And you're like, no. So how do people ensure that they're kind of still focusing on that? Is it focus customer first?
So that's what, so people mistake great product and focus customer first with like, right, I need to go into the, like a cave and make the best thing I can. Like that might be the best thing for you, but it might not be the best thing for the person buying. And that's why we're so big on, like, there needs to be both. There needs to be a way to get these people to take you seriously and actually pay you money. Because if they don't pay you money, it's not a business anyway. But after that, build what they need. Like, what is going to get them the best result possible? Because the testimonials that you get where someone, like, we have people, like, videos of people saying we've changed their life. That doesn't come because we explain to them how protein synthesis works. Or like, you know, we gave them the latest intermittent fasting thing. We gave them the solution to their problem. And I think that's what...
And they'll tell you.
Yeah,
like which
this is
great.
the problem I'm experiencing. Please help me solve it. And then you use the expertise about the protein synthesis and the latest intermittent fasting
and just
to solve
skim
it.
off the...
But they don't want to know how it works. You know, like, they don't give a shit how it works.
It's like a small subset of the ones that do, but then they usually want to go and then become PTs and, you know...
Details. Don't bore me with the details. That's it, isn't it?
Layer cake.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is all, to be honest, it is all just layer cake. You're born, you take shit, get out in the world, take more shit. Welcome to the layer cake.
Take real less shit. So one day you're up in the rarefied atmosphere.
And you're an online coach.
You're online.
And you're at James Smith PT with a blue tick. Yeah.
Something else that I've just remembered was, this was a link that Jonny sent me about 42 minutes into a Tom Martin seminar. So you know Tom Martin, like for the listeners.
Oh, God.
This is a guy who is like mental strong. Like he deadlifted 340 at 82 kilos, went up to 93s, got stupid lifts. Everyone thought he was on drugs. Everyone was like, oh, he's clearly on drugs. Like, look at his lifts. One day he left the powerlifting federation that was drug tested and became huge over 6 months and started deadlifting like 400 plus, squatting 300 plus, like really big lifts, and just looks like an absolute like
Belgian blue bull.
Turbo goblin. Yeah,
That's exactly what. Yeah,
and
full is how he looks.
very full.
Turgid.
And then it was like, oh, okay, so he wasn't.
Now he's on.
He's moved to an untested federation and got very strong.
So he's a really impressive athlete, like absolutely mind blowing. And he's sat there, arm in a sling because he's torn his bicep deadlifting, delivering a seminar on like basics of powerlifting. And this guy goes, Tom, just stop you there because I've got a question. As a intermediate powerlifter who's recovering from an ACL reconstruction, this was back on my left knee in 2014. My question really relates to the specifics and the mechanics of doing reverse band partial squats as part of my volume building block. And so what's the efficacy in implementing that within my program for improving my squat? He's like, have you thought of just doing full range squats with a barbell? Oh, okay, right, okay. Like,
it's the basics is what, and that's what people don't want to hear.
What's the one about the guy who turned up to the internet marketing explanation seminar and didn't have an internet business? Mate, I'm not being funny, right?
So we were at a thing I'll not say where. We were at an event somewhere in the UK, undisclosed location, and someone came up to Yusef, and Yusef is not the person to ask this question of, because he doesn't like it. It was like, mate, like, can I ask you a couple of questions? It was asking us like loads of advanced questions. I'm not being funny. Can I ask you a couple of questions about that? You don't have to answer this, but how much do you charge for your online? And like loads of like really cloak and dagger, and Yusef got down to like the brass tacks.
Look, man, I don't mean to be funny yet, but
and the guy,
how much do you charge for your program?
Was it during Cartel?
Very similar.
But he didn't have a website or anything, and that's like that at the time.
And wasn't this a really advanced?
Yeah.
Like it was like proper high end.
We're talking about like packaging intellectual rights, and like it was the assumption was you had a website.
Well, it was military precision Facebook spend stuff, wasn't it? Yeah, super advanced targeting, all this sort of stuff.
When you've been doing it like 7 years and you sit in a thing like frantically taking notes, like really edge of your seat,
that's it,
holding on for dear life. And there's a bloke in the back who doesn't have a website.
He hires out like a community hall somewhere in like
to do
West London to
like glutes and hams or something twice a week for.
It'd be like a school sports hall on a Saturday. But
he's there because he wants the answers, and that my favourite thing about the James Smith event was. So the two things about that were weird. One was like, it's very similar to the Tom Martin thing. There's a guy on stage who's done very well and is doing very well in the internet fitness world. And the questions were like, James, mate, I've got this woman who I charge £30 an hour for. I think I might charge him £35 an hour. Like, what do you think? And you want to stand up and go like, right, everybody sit the fuck down. All right. This guy, thousands of clients online, and that is the best question that you can come up with.
That's how he got to where he is, by charging an extra £5 per hour. It's when people just start with a sprawling story as part of the question, and sometimes there's not even a question at the end of it. You're like, you just put your hand up there to just like
have your turn.
Yeah.
Mate, this isn't a fucking meet and greet. It's a Q&A.
Speaking of having your turn, so I'd asked a couple of questions. And you could see it was getting towards the end of the day, and Yusef always feels like I need to participate and say something. So James is talking about, there's a guy, he's called the Fitness Chef. Does like you'll have probably seen some of his stuff, comparison infographics of like avocado on toast and Snickers bar. And James went, this guy's got like 150,000 followers, and Yusef went
made the
250,000, and James went, really? You're like, yeah. He's like, fucking hell, I only checked this morning.
That is a classic example of the Crash Bandicoot chain, where you just invent something in your head and you're like, I think this is really good.
James was like, I checked this morning, he must have had a really good day.
And that was the one thing that you had to contribute.
Afterwards it was like,
Well, I then checked while we sat there.
150.
Like,
what the fuck am I doing?
So then I put my hand up and I was like, James, I charge £30.
and everyone's like,
Great question. I was just thinking that. I was going to ask that as well.
So it's the same at... I went to go and see recently Alain de Botton in London and Douglas Murray.
Is there a Q&A for them as well?
Yes, at the end, yeah. So imagine Alain de Botton. This man's YouTube channel has had 500 million plays. 500 million. One of the most insightful channels on the internet. And like, Alain is like the most compassionate, gentle, he's like the ultimate uncle. Do you know what I mean? And
But not the one at the barbecue that...
not the touchy
not
one.
the weird one.
Even he caveated the beginning of his Q&A section by saying, please keep questions to no more than 3 sentences and please ensure that they are a question.
That's a man who has experienced a lot.
Yeah.
And do you know what it is? Douglas
Time
Murray.
retention.
Douglas Murray said he said 2 sentences and make sure it's a question. And there's still people that stand up and go, yes, Douglas. I wondered. First off, thank you for coming. I'm all for thank yous. First off, obviously we are in Westminster tonight. It's like, fuck, mate, what is this? Is this the opening night of the proms or something?
We're on planet Earth, and it's the current summer
Thanks for the
season.
framing, mate. I've only been here
This
for
is your life.
I've only been here for 2 hours listening to him and Lionel Shriver talk about like the nuances of identity politics for you to remind me that I'm in Westminster. Am I?
So annoying. I think I'd throw something.
It was
Just
brilliant.
like throwing a drink.
You should just have like a bag of marbles, shouldn't you? And you're allowed to throw marbles every time.
Have you ever seen this before? So he had this thing where there was people with numbers in different areas of the room, and it was like number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way around, and he would just pick a number, and then that person would go. It was like he
Darren Brown, isn't it?
He delegated
very Darren
out the way, but it was like this one from this section, and one from this section, and one from that section. I'm like, mate, really, this kind of vision of representativeness that you're giving out here doesn't matter. Just do everyone in that row.
Yeah.
Just do.
Don't make it more complicated than it needs to be.
Needs to be. Okay, so
You should get Darren Brown on the podcast.
that'd be great. It'd be good.
I think that would be the most excited I'd ever been.
But he'll take your wallet by the end of the...
He will do
podcast.
virtually.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Okay, so we've given out some fucking cool info today. Let's do a recap, and also you need to tell people where they can go to
Sure.
find out more from yourselves as well.
So I would say, if someone is either like gym owner, PT, nutritionist offline, or we help a few people who like there's a few people actually who've been fitness clients for 2 years and are in such good shape that they're like, I want to help people do the same thing, which is really cool. But so those criteria, so you're outside the industry but thinking about it, offline PT, gym owner, anything like that. I would start an online presence regardless of whether or not you want it to be a full-time thing, and I would do it sooner rather than later.
What's that mean?
Like I would have something in place. I would have an online program. I would have an online offering, because really the barrier to setting one up at the moment is pretty low.
Frictionless.
Yeah, and especially if you have like clients already, it bolsters the value of your offline service.
Is a PDF enough? Is a weekly call enough?
I'd say probably not. But if we're going to get into that, I've got a link that can help people with that, rather than me go through the details. But yeah, sooner rather than later, just because realistically, there's someone starting today, now, and you're just going to be a year down the line if you wait. And there's no reason to wait, because everyone's always like, in January or next year, in the magical land of when I have all the time and all the money.
It's one of those things to do with us being in the weeds about our own experience again as well, isn't it? It's like you presume that everybody else is watching you. Yeah. And that you're going to put, I've got to put out this fucking sick program, because honestly, if my third cousin sees that I've released this thing and there's a spelling error on the front page.
So getting started today might mean in a year it's doing all right, rather than, this time next year just beginning. So start sooner rather than later, and don't get caught in the weeds with websites and stuff you don't need. Focus on what I said earlier, and just, if you are getting help, be very careful. So the question we encourage people to ask is like, can I see your version of this business, please? Like, can I see, if you're teaching me to build a fitness business, I want to see this type of thing that I'm building, because it might be like, you might see their business and think, that's weird.
That's shit. Yeah.
And probably the most common reason people give for like, I don't run my fitness business anymore is like, it didn't suit my lifestyle. So do you want to be taught by someone who built a business that didn't suit their lifestyle? Just those sorts of things. I'm not trying to rubbish everyone else, because there are some really good coaches, but just ask for proof. Just like you would ask to see someone's lifts if they're a powerlifting coach or whatever, right? And do you have anything else?
No, that's
Make a mustache. Get a mustache.
Make a mustache.
Make a mustache.
Make a mustache. Stick it on.
Stick it on.
So people are thinking these two sound like they know what they're talking about. Where should they go?
So propanefitness.com/modern wisdom.
Nice.
Did it for you specially.
Thank you.
And all that is it's basically us as a case study. So it's Propane Fitness as a case study, and I just take you through what we did. Because that's what people always ask. It's like, what did you guys do when you were starting? What were the steps you took? So we've broken it down into 7 key takeaways, and it's free.
Awesome.
Isn't that the best thing?
That's fucking... I didn't even know you made that. Thank you. Well, for the listeners who are interested in more or just want to get something for free, link will be in the show notes below, or propanefitness.com/modern wisdom. Obviously, follow Propane Fitness online, all that good stuff. Gentlemen, it's been sick. Thank you.
Thank you.